Welcome back to another retro review with your handsome host. It is I, Jamien Surita. I'm glad to be back. And guess what we're going to talk about? It's got something to do with your seatbelt. You put it on. No. You fasten your seatbelt. Now, let's talk about welcome back, guys. This is going to be a very quick review, just like you see the driving in Fast and Furious. Look, I'm going to be straight up with you. I love the Fast and Furious movies. 4 was mediocre, but 5, man, Fast and Furious took off with Hobbs, a.k.a. Dwayne Johnson, who came and became known as the Viagra of the movie franchises. Because before that, it wasn't that big. But then Fast 5 happened. Bam, money. Fast 6, money. 7, money. 8, money. And then 9 kind of dropped, and 10 dropped as well. But we're here to talk about Fast X. Look, I am a big fan. I will be honest with you, though. I preferred when Paul Walker was kind of more the lead than Vin Diesel. But, you know, I'm a Vin Diesel watcher, too. I watched The Pacifier. I never saw the Riddick movies, though. I didn't really care for that. But yeah, you know, I'm a big fan of the Fast and Furious. You know, they got a lot of great action. I love the fact that each movie tops itself with, like, the crazy car action and stuff. And so you know this is a spoiler review, of course. And my favorite part of the whole movie definitely was Rocket League. That's right, it became canon in the Fast and Furious world. Because they literally had a bomb and they used their cars to move it around like it's a soccer ball. And that was great to see. It was pretty cool. Honestly, that action was really cool. And then the other best part, Jason Momoa's Dante Reyes was really good too. Very entertaining. He knew what this was. You know, I think that sometimes a movie can lack if it takes itself too seriously, because, you know, at the end of the day, as much as we love the drama, the Shakespeare, and the story, if that's not really well done, at the very least, when the actors have fun, it makes it more fun for us. Especially because Fast and Furious has always been, from like Fast 5, a popcorn movie. You know, you just consume it and you have fun. And I think sometimes it's not bad. You can add a little more drama and all that type of stuff, especially if the writing gets up there, but the writing is not up there, so it was okay. I also want to say something that really bugs me, and I guess it's part of their theme. The fact that in every movie, the villain becomes part of the family. La familia. Become part of the familia. Like, y'all are my familia. Salud. And then, you know, you do Corona. And at the end with a bunch of people. But I really liked the character of Dante Reyes. He's definitely my favorite antagonist in the Fast and Furious franchise. Before that, I really liked Shaw. Deckard Shaw was really good. And Fast and Furious 7, and even like that end clip at Fast 6 where he kills Han and stuff like that, I felt like it really created a sense of violence, or maybe more specifically tension, because, you know, these characters, nothing really happens to them. They never lose, they never go through like a lot of mourning and all this other stuff. But when someone comes and knocks them off their feet, I'm like, okay, let's see what's gonna happen. I think they're kind of afraid to kill and actually keep the death still, meaning, you know, like that they don't come back, because then it cheapens it. You know, this is a movie. Obviously, we know they're gonna be alive. You know, obviously, as long as no one does some crazy stuff, then that doesn't matter. Then what they have to do is create this livable world, especially after the Avengers franchise and everything. Fast and Furious has always tried to imitate something like that, you know, with their movies, which already feels like a superhero movie because nothing ever happens to the protagonist. So at the very least, they should create more tension. That way we can actually pay more attention to what's going on. I also wanted to say that I really like the use of the previous footage for the connection of Paul Walker's character in that world. You know, that's one of the good things that they have always done with those movies. After, unfortunately, he passed away, they always kept him kind of present in the franchise, so he never really died. You know, because that's the thing that happens with death, right? A lot of times when people pass, whether we want to or not, they kind of become part of history, and they're not necessarily always present. And so I think that was really cool about the franchise, that they always kind of reminded you that Brian was around, even if he wasn't on the screen. So that was a cool thing about it. And then they used the previous footage, and even though technically we've seen this movie already, when they were showing it, they kind of tried to go for this other angle in order to include Dante Reyes, aka Jason Momoa's character, to create that sense of history that he has with the characters. He's like the best part of the movie, hands down. Vin Diesel does the Vin Diesel thing. He's Dom as always. I really just like the action. The action is always like the best parts. And then I also thought that John Cena did a good job here. He changed a lot though from the last movie into this one, because the last one he was kind of like an antagonist. He was definitely trying to go more for an anti-hero look, and he did a good job. I felt like it was very believable. But then in this movie, he kind of just became John Cena, which is actually pretty good still. He just had fun with the role, and I think that when you don't take everything too seriously in terms of, I guess, necessarily acting and stuff like that, it makes it a lot more fun, because that's what the franchise really thrived on. They were always doing this ridiculous, crazy, stunt-filled stuff, and it has nothing to do with cars, really. And that was always entertaining. That's what brought people back, because they're like, how can they top themselves? And I really did like that whole scene with the soccer ball. I thought it was very creative and fun and interesting. And it's like crazy action. Then you see Jason Momoa in the background just kind of having his own fun, just watching them fail. It was really good. I really like those things. I will also say that you kind of felt the use of a bigger cast. There was so many characters to keep track of. They definitely had to split them up into two groups in order to make it a little bit more palatable, like a little bit easier to kind of digest. And because sometimes when you see so many characters, if they're not used in a way that's smart or in a way that connects them all together into the movie, it kind of feels a little bit like far apart. It kind of look like the person who has like his eye looking up here and over there at the same time, and that's going to distract you obviously from the movie. So yeah, I am excited to see what happens, because as you know, this is a spoiler review. There is a cliffhanger, and so I need to see what happens next. I also wanted to kind of give like a point to the boy, the one who played Dom's son. I thought he did a good job, honestly, kind of, because they kind of gave him a little bit of work to carry in the movie. Dom is definitely a big part of it, but he's a part of the plot, and then you also kind of see his life a little bit of like what would it be like to be Dom's son, because Dom is, even if he is kind of stale as an actor, as a character and everything, at the very least, he feels like a real character at the same time. You know what I mean? So then you get kind of curious about like, oh, what would it be like to be part of this world and all this other stuff. So I thought they did a good job with the actor that they chose to play his son, and then the rest of the cast. I really did enjoy. I'm just gonna spoil it for everyone. I like that Dwayne Johnson scene at the end. I felt kind of hyped when I saw him, and Giselle coming back at the end as well was pretty good. I also just want to say, I think Charlize Theron is a great actress. I really love damn, I forgot the movies that she's done, but she's done a good movie for Netflix. She also did the action movie that was directed by one of the people who made John Wick movies, which is something I will be talking about pretty soon as well. John Wick Chapter 4. Stay tuned for that. But I feel like she's very wasted in these movies. She's there to kind of be like a villain, but then in this one they brought her to show the fury and the strength of Jason Momoa's character, as as exaggerated and as weird and as crazy as he was. You can feel more of his strength because he went after their antagonist from the last movies. I just thought that she would have more to do, but I guess they're kind of making her now as part of the team just for, I guess, the next movie or something. But I kind of just wish they had more of an antagonist. And hopefully they keep Dante that way. I don't want to care about him in that sense. Like, oh, he has a background, because technically he does, because they killed his dad. But you know what I mean? Like, I just want a good old-fashioned villain. Not everybody has to become an anti-hero. They exist too. There are people who stick to their convictions, even if it's bad, and they end up dying with it. And that's what I want to see, at least in the Fast and Furious franchise. It doesn't have to be too serious, but at least create some tension, have a better wrangle on their cast, at least create a more interesting dynamic. It did have a good setup for what's going to happen next, because we have no idea, but knowing Fast and Furious' history, they're probably just fine. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Don't forget, subscribe, and let me know if you saw Fast X, and if you fastened your seatbelt when you watched it in the comment section below. I appreciate everyone here, and I will see you mañana.